Okay, let's say that I've finished one of my studies here. I'm just going to use one as an example, even though in theory, you should do this when you're finished with all of them. But, for point, line, and plane. But for right now, I've done the phase one, the basic compositional iterations where I don't change the scale, I don't have overlapping shapes, and so on. Don't change axes and things like that. And I need to export these out so that I can put them in some, singular place. And so what I want to do is go up here to File, and I'm going to go to Export, and then Export for Screens. All right, this is such a great feature now in Illustrator. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is take a look at your artboards, and I want you to rename them. Okay, so you can do that in a few different ways. One is that you can go right here and you can rename it, and the way I want you to rename it is I want you to call it like point dash and then the name of the word that you were actually trying to illustrate, for instance. So in this one, it was playfulness, and then -1 so that I can see that that's the first version of it. All right, so that one's named, and then I'm going to copy this so I don't have to retype it, the whole thing everywhere. The other one that was playful, I didn't actually end up doing them in order, probably should have, but I didn't. So if that's the case with you, you can come here and you can redo it like that, and then you would change it to version 2, okay, and so on. Now, before I finish doing this, I want to just show you something. If I cancel out of this at this point, okay, and then I want to go back and do it again, you'll notice if I go to export for screens, you'll notice that it remembered the names that I changed these artboards to here. Now, if I wanted to go into window and look at my actual artboards here, you'd see that it actually changed the name of my artboards in my artboards panel as well, which is pretty nice. So that's another way that you could do this if you wanted to. You could identify which artboard is which, and you could go ahead and make those changes. And then remember, this is the artboard tool. And so if I have the artboard tool selected while I'm in the artboards panel and I select the artboard, you'll see that it highlights it for me on the screen. And oops, this is popped open. Okay, and I can just rename it right here too. I don't have to do it in the export window if I don't want to. So it's really, it's up to you how you want to do this. But so what I'll do here is I'm gonna, and if I click on this from right here, you see that it expands it and it goes into fit to screen mode so that it goes and gets big for me. Now I can double click this and rename this from this point, right? So in this example, this one would be congestion. I'm going to double click it and call it congestion. Okay, and I'll call that congestion 1. And don't forget, you also want to add the point at the beginning. And the reason I'm adding point here, you might go, well, I'm in the point file. I know that these are all points. The thing is, later when you combine everything, you're going to be combining not just the point documents, but also the line and the plane as well. So that way you can easily identify it when you're thumbing through the different PDF versions within a single PDF file. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. And let's go back down. I'm going to zoom back out so I can see all of my artboards. So anyway, this is one of the things that you can do. I could also go right here to artboard 3 and I can choose it like that, double click it, and then rename it. This one would be conflict. And some of these words might have changed in a different semester. So if these words aren't exactly the ones that are the ones in your assignment, then don't worry about it. Okay, so I'll call this conflict 1. All right, and go back down. Okay, and then this one is also conflict as well, the one right there. So let's just rename all of these here. Let's paste that. And that's conflict. And we'll call that conflict 2. And then this one must be congestion. Yep. Congestion 2. Okay, so now my artboards are all named differently. And what's nice though is that, remember originally we had done our our layers so that it's like artboard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We didn't name them ahead of time. That's okay, because if you look up here in the corner, you'll still see that it has the numeric artboard number. So it still corresponds just fine. Whenever if I were to turn that off, see, it disappears. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go back now, and we're going to go to File and then Export for Screens, and you'll see that all my artboards are named. So like I said before, you could have done that here, or you could have done it where I just showed you how to do it. Okay, now you're going to select all, you're going to export all of those artboards, and you want to make sure to click this little folder icon so that you know where it's going to save it. So I'm going to click that. All right, and so I went and I found the folder that I want to save it in, okay? And I'm going to, just to keep everything really well organized, since these are all from my point file, I'm going to create a new folder that's just called point. And I'm going to choose that as my destination. And then right here, you're probably going to see PNG as your native default, and it says 1 times and all of that. What I want you to do is go over here and I want you to change it to PDF. That's just going to make things a lot easier, because this is mainly just for review, and the PDF will still keep the vector nature of it, whereas changing it to like a PNG is not going to do that. So let's go ahead and click on Export Artboard. Okay, and it just popped up. So if you want now, what you can do is you can take a look at each of these, and you can see that it did in fact create a PDF of each one as a square. And what's really nice is that if at this point, you would have all of these 6 different iterations, and you can combine each of these into one single PDF, which is good. I'm going to open Adobe Acrobat Pro. Let me jump over here. I already have it open, and you're going to see there's a home and then there's a tools tab. Click on the tools tab, and you're going to go over here where it says create PDF, and it's going to give you an option, and you're going to say multiple files. Actually, yeah. And then you're going to combine the files into a single format. So go ahead and choose that radio button, click next, and then it will allow you to just add your files. So I'm going to do that. And at this point, what I can do is I can actually click that folder that I made. I don't have to actually go in there and select them individually. I can just click on add files. Actually, no, it doesn't allow that. I'm sorry. It used to. It doesn't anymore. Okay, so I'm going to click on add files, and there we go. And so now I've got them, and if you want, just so you know, at this point, they're going to be visible with the dashes and everything inside of the file. So if you really wanted inside of a PDF, if you want them to have prettier names than that, then you can come here and select the thing that you want to rename, and over here where it says bookmark for file, just click it once, don't double click it, otherwise it's going to go into something different. And this is where you could actually go ahead and make the name of the change. So you could do something like, point, if you wanted to make it, this is like if you wanted to capitalize it or whatever, and then you could do something like conflict, you could capitalize it, and so on. Okay, so now I've got them all renamed in a way that if somebody were to open this up in the PDF and look through the bookmarks, it wouldn't look, just like some weird file name. Okay, so I'm okay with this. And then if you don't like the order, for instance, if you, would like to change the order of the words up a little bit, you could do that. Also, if, let's say that maybe you're not just making just the point version right now, maybe you're adding point, line, and plane in here. The other thing is you might want to order them differently. You can click something and then move it and drag it around and change the order. You can use these up and down arrows to change the order too. I'm happy with this, so I'll click combine, and there it creates what's referred to as a binder for me, and it says it's binder 1. You'll have to save it with a file name, and now I can go over here and click this, and I can see my thumbnails. And if I wanted to look at my bookmarks, you see that it actually has the names that I created, which is nice, so that it's got these like quick links. And then this is the thumbnail view. All right, and so I can zoom back out like this, and then I can easily take a look at all my different iterations, which is really quite cool. And at this point, you just go up here and do File, and then do a Save As. And you can just save this wherever you want it to go. It's going to default to the folder where your resources were. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and I'll say, I'll just click on it, and then it's going to ask me what I want to call it. And I will call this point point study, okay? Point study phase 1 or something like that, okay? And we'll save that. And so now that file is there. Okay, now the other thing, if you don't have access to Acrobat Pro, the other thing that you can do, let me close this out, is that you can use a website to go and combine your files. Let me show you where that is. Okay, it's called smallpdf.com, and it's /merge-pdf. There are lots of websites out there that do this. This one's kind of nice because it's free and you don't have to pay for it. Okay, so you get an ad, big deal. It's really simple. You can actually add stuff from your Dropbox or your Google Drive, or you can also just drag and drop your files right here, and it just immediately merges them and it'll save it out for you. You can't do some of the other features that I showed you how to do in Acrobat Pro, like renaming everything, but for the bookmarks, but you can always go back and open that somewhere if you have access to Acrobat Pro at some point. The reason I'm also showing you this is because as of last semester, the IT staff had not put Acrobat Pro in our classroom. So you might end up having to use this if you're trying to combine stuff in the classroom. Okay, all right, that'll do it for this. And then later, of course, you would want to take your point, line, and plane stuff and put all of it together in one big file, and you can merge PDFs that have already been merged as well. Okay, that's it.